Hello, this is Steve, Dichroic Glassman. Wanting to talk about architectural dichroic glass today. I'm putting in an order with CBS to have some glass coated. Now, what is architectural stained glass, especially in dichroic? This is one of them. This is called Croco. Some of the artists have seen this. It's an extremely dangerous glass to use. As you can see, the little shards all along the edge. This one's probably pretty smooth. Yeah, you can see it right here. Man, I'll tell you what, this stuff is wicked stuff to cut. Almost get cut every time. This is called Croco or crocodile. Some of the other textures that you probably have seen is flute. However, this is dichroic flute. It's red, silver, blue. Check that out. So what I've done is I'll send in sheets of glass like this one. This is a relatively new one on the scene. It's called Matrix. Relatively new. I'm sure it's a few years old. Ain't this going to look brilliant, pretty, done in dichro? What I do is I send the glass out to have it coated. Here's some of the other glass that I've done over the years. It was kind of interesting talking to CBS yesterday. They have not coated sheets of architectural dichro in a couple years. What that tells you is CBS, being the largest dichroic coater in the world to the that sells to the public now. There are coaters bigger than CBS, much bigger. However, they do not sell to the public. Strictly to the entertainment industry, such as in lighting, or medical industry, such as in the dental mirrors that everybody's used to. Those are dichroic, by the way. That's silver, because all colors of dichroic together, excuse me, make silver. Anyway, getting off the subject. These are some colors that I've done in the past. There's flute. This glass is extinct, called Circo. Here's glue chip, Floreal, Baroque. Here's Croco, done in red, silver, blue. Here's some glue chip. One of my favorite colors I had done is purple. Cube, Sycamore, Cube, Thin Reed, Cross Reed, Spectrum Ice, Sycamore, upside down, Cube, Hammered, Moresco or Wallpaper, Thin Reed, Flute. Some of these hammered, Thin Reed, Yakari. That one's a cool one. I think it's called Samba. Anyway, I've done a lot more than this. It's just that a lot of them have been redundant. I might have had 10 sheets, in other words, done of this and 15 of that. So I've done more sheets than what this represents by far. What's nice about the dichroic is you can cut it into little strips. And I just brought some little pieces out here where you can kind of get an idea. The idea is not to use it as big pieces as these would suggest, but to use them as thin little strips. I've done them as, this is just a little under ½ an inch, or right around ½ an inch. Very effective in a window because of the color changing. And then coupled up with the dichroic glass bevels and jewels that I do, on my website you can see what those look like at dichroicglassman.com. You can imagine that you're going to turn an ordinary piece, well, let's just say undichroic piece, into something spectacular because of the beauty that dichroic affords us. One thing about dichroic to keep in mind is it's not a glass. Dichroic is a coating. It can be put on any kind of glass as long as it'll take the pressure, the temperature, and the zero vacuum in the chamber when they coat these things, these sheets. Then you can have it coated. I have heard of artists sending fruit bowls and goblets and wine glasses and all kinds of cool things to CBS, and they have coated them. CBS is even coating rocks, crystals for people. Yeah, even rocks. So anyway, the point of it is the strength of dichro is in the simplicity, not in the overabundance of it. So when you do a fine little border like this and put it next to a bevel, well, I don't have a straight bevel here, but here's a, when you put bevel border next to the dichroic, it's very beautiful in the way it stands out. This is blue gold. You can see the, and that's Spectrum Baroque, which, by the way, can be fused. You can use this as a coefficient 96. None of these glass, for the most part, is fusible glass. These are all architectural textures made by Vasa, Pilkington. There's different companies making this glue chip, and you cannot fuse these together. Yes, some people think glass is glass and it can all be fused. That's not so. You cannot fuse these glasses here, these glass choices, because they're architectural stained glass pieces. They're not done for the compatibility issues. Again, here's red, silver, blue. So they're strictly used as a decorative standpoint. And the point of that is there's no competition at price point. You're not going to, having architectural dichroic glass is going to be more expensive than fusible glass. With everybody competing in the nickels and dimes on eBay that you've seen, and some of the major competitors and distributors of dichroic are trying to nickel and dime each other for your business, you're not going to have that in this industry because A, CBS hasn't even coated a sheet, not a sheet, in a couple of years. There's no competition. Literally, a guy can get out there and say, I want $100 a foot or $200 a foot or $500 a foot, and get it if somebody will pay for it. So it's kind of crazy. Technically, you have to buy the glass, ship it to you, cut it up into a circle, a 19-inch circle, ship it to CBS, and then pay to get the ship to get it back. So technically, you're paying 3 times the shipping for one sheet of glass. So from that standpoint right there, we're not used to that because we just simply call up CBS and order a sheet of glass in whatever color combination we want, and we only pay the shipping one time. Not so in architectural dichro because it's so unique. Ultimately, what a person should do with these pieces is fire polish them to lock the dichro onto the glass. You should fire polish it and then cut them out at strips. Ultimately, that would be expensive. I don't have a kiln big enough to do a 19-inch circle. You don't have to use a 19-inch circle. You can cut the circle into a quarter or a half. So if you had a quarter, it's not that big. Now you're only talking a 10-inch piece. So now it makes it more reasonable. Anyway, I'm putting in an order for dichroic glass. And I'll do it on the next video. But what I wanted to do is just kind of come out with some information and show some of these dichroic textures, the possibilities. I'll do another video right after this one and talk about pricing. But what I wanted to do is show some of the possibilities. Isn't this beautiful, just seeing all these dichroic colors? Woohoo! It's awesome. Now I have seen some people take the shards and scraps, fire polish them, and wrap a foil around them and call them stained glass dichroic jewelry, and have sold them for quite well because you can't buy these textures in fusible. And besides, if you could, you'd fuse them off. You can't get a texture like that. The closest thing is radium. This is called croco. Remember, that's croco. So I have seen people do some fun stuff with these scraps, especially in kaleidoscopes, especially in mosaics. From time to time, I even sold my scraps on eBay. So anyway, off to another video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.